What is going on? Thank you for joining me for this reaction. Today is Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner. Now, I haven't watched Death Battle in a long time. It's been some years. What better way to get into it than with a Green Lantern fighting a mecha series? And I've seen Gurren Lagann, I think that's how it's pronounced. I've seen it once a long time ago. I remember nothing about this series. I think the mecha became cosmic by the end of the series though. I think it was cosmic or something along those lines. I'm familiar with Kyle Rayner, the Green Lantern, so I'm excited to see what we're in for. After the reaction, I will say whether or not I agree with the decision, the victor, whoever wins this match. So I'm excited to see what we're in for. Let's go!
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Death battle!
Deep underground, Jiha Village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave.
That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty.
I remember him.
Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simon. He was there too, I guess.
Simon was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt, until the day he found the core drill.
A key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark.
But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the earth for humanity,
some time.
scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren.
And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann.
With Kamina piloting the body and Simon the head, these two were unstoppable.
Of all the giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower and capable of making any weapon they can imagine.
Including missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses boomerang, and of course...
drills! Wrist-mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha drills, and everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku!
I want the kamehameha drill.
It's so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. What up?
With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome.
Until Kamina died. Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen?
Nope, and it was all Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simon who believes in you. Damn.
Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simon who found Lagann, Simon who pierced the surface, and Simon who would now lead humanity to victory.
Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked.
Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis.
Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah.
Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential.
Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Awesome.
Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simon can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
So much power.
The Arc Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which
there
can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimension.
That's
all
crazy.
within a Planck instant.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light.
Wow. That's insane.
Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history. Congratulations, Gurren Lagann.
Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You
That's
literally
crazy.
cannot calculate how fast that is.
But it wasn't enough to escape the Anti-Spiral's greatest trap, the Multiverse Labyrinth, an attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world.
Except
sucks.
Simon and his spiral power are just built different. And after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional, meaning Simon absorbed a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope.
What?
The way they can
But we're just
calculate all
getting
this.
started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person.
Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened.
Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann.
Wow.
And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding another to the mix.
Wait, if every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually crazy. Like shooting missiles that alter probability so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes.
Simon's power was
I knew it
so
was
immense
cosmic
that
at
he
the end of
started
the series.
generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe.
With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Like
He's
when
gonna win.
Lorgenome used spiral power to survive quantum breakdown. Or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information
7
in
days.
physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, Wiz, when the
Wiz.
is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough
Where's
for the
his leg?
anti-spiral, Simon evolved one more time.
Into Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann!
This mech is so big, its size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simon and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simon's drill is the drill that would
Pull
pierce
the moon back into
heavens.
orbit.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up. For all the lights in the sky
Those
are
feats
stars,
were ridiculous.
and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
Alright. Simone's gonna win. Simone.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded
Fuzz.
billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him. You love him. You might hate him, but you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path,
Wow.
and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was only
Man.
one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
That's
So,
how
was
Kyle got his
picked for
power?
his
ring?
indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own. Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient fox can master it, what's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling
Whoa.
any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
I didn't know it did
Think
all
we're
that.
exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over. That's like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a speed force singularity.
Tapping
Whoa.
into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Boozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the Crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers,
Say what?
and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or
Wow.
hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it
there we
can
go.
blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Oh,
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized.
That's where that
this
phrase
moment
came
was
from.
so
Stuff in the
infamous, it
fridge.
started the trope called fridging.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
Yeah, I remember
So
this.
it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange
wow.
light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm.
What?
Which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Okay.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can
Compassion
trap
and
enemies
love.
within crystal matrices and control their minds.
Oh,
but Kyle
oh.
only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it.
Johnny
Must
Bravo.
be nice. And with
Johnny
their
Bravo.
powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern
A White
with total
Lantern.
control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Dude.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, The white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so
Wow.
it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the source and acquired the life equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation, like its counterpart, the anti-life equation, is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's
Oblivion.
greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And
There's
together,
more?
they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
That's a
But with
lot
the
of power to
of
give
life
away.
At their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
Okay, Kyle might win this.
Hey, remember Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia? No? Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime. But we've
what?
got a solution. It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive.
Oh, wow.
It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg live right now.
I've never heard of a .gg website address.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through
I
all
think
possibilities.
Kyle's gonna win, guys.
It's time for a death battle!
Here we go. Here we go. And there was a commercial.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Oh, we caught it.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is.
The animation looks
I'm
different.
thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you
Oh,
are?
he's running. Balrog. Oh, that's creative.
I'm told
That's
I'm
Shinron.
fine with authority.
Tell me about it. 4!
Dude, oh! Oh, what a space.
That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens!
Alright. Oh, he's going super.
Take it to Gurren Lagann!
Galaxy mode. The smile.
That's really cool. I'm a digger.
Dude.
We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
He's like Superman. Uh-oh. Dude.
I'm Simone the Digger. If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
Oh, he drew him. He caught him. Alright. Oh, here we go. It's like an infinity gauntlet.
Fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Mental control.
Have faith in the Simon that believes in you.
Oh. The shades.
Super taken to Gurren Lagann! My drill
Super
is the
Galaxy.
drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill Free!
Wow, that's massive. Oh, he got his own. This ain't gonna end well. I think we're all gonna lose. Look. This is crazy,
The
man.
super weapon wasn't your mech. It was me. Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day,
Oh.
in blackest night. No evil shall escape
Oh.
my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power.
Green Lantern flight.
Green Lantern fly!
Ah, this is awesome. Dude, oh,
Let's see you grit those teeth!
he got him. It's over.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simone of Earth, you have been chosen.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
Hey-o! The guy with the snazzy
Nice.
sunglasses!
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
Ah, there it
And
is.
that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember,
Wow, the
each
fact they could
numbered
calculate
dimension
that.
infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More
Okay.
than enough to close the gap with Kyle, especially since spiral
vibing
power
to this
also
music.
lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability
Huh.
to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge.
That's right.
Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied
makes
life
sense.
itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Simone.
Next time on Death Battle.
Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry.
Subscribe and join as a
Why,
member to see
Coyote?
more Death Battle.
All right, Simone won that one. I did want him to win. Nothing against Kyle, but I do like Mecha a little bit more, so it makes sense. It's crazy how the Death Battle crew can calculate the different things like Eternity's weight and all. First off, the amount of feats that the mech and the Green Lantern can do, it's ridiculous. Like the power scaling is out of control. It's crazy, but I love it. You got to have some ridiculousness every now and then. I thought Kyle was going to win because I think it was Boomstick. I think he brought up two things. One was the Green Lantern. I think he mentioned about AI and the Green Lantern being able to bring people back to life. So I was like, oh, okay, that's going to play a part because Kyle may die, but he's going to bring himself back. So I thought that was the clue that Kyle was going to win. I'm happy Simone won. So got no complaints about that. Their arguments are logical. It makes sense. That's the thing with these ridiculously overpowered characters. It's so easy to get lost in the spectacle of it all. What helps is when you ground these stories, when they have drama, challenges they have to deal with. And if you look at both series, there is that human element that they're both dealing with. It's not so much, oh, I need to make this mech powerful. They're dealing with human emotional challenges. I enjoyed this episode of Death Battle. I'll probably check out the next one. Who did you think was going to win? Leave your comments. If you enjoyed this reaction, like, share, subscribe. Take it easy.